Whitey Jenkins here once again for another episode of the Whitey Jenkins Show. Episode number 5 to be exact. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate everybody that's been watching the show and sharing it on the social medias and however all that works. I don't know. Producer Smokey keeps up with all of that. But from what I hear, quite a few people's been watching. Quite a few people's been liking it. The comment thing hadn't been working on here real good. Some of the comments come through, some of them don't. Sometimes I got to get my phone out and look and see who's commenting and all that. But we're doing the best we can. So here we are once again from the studios here in Gadsden, Alabama. I had to drive all the way up here from Vinemont again because producer Smokey wants me to sit in front of this. I don't understand it. It's a screen. It's green, but now it's got all this shit in the background. But anyway. That cat's smarter than me, so if he's got it figured out, more power to him. So today we're gonna have a man after my own heart. We're gonna have a legendary, old school wrestler, not a professional wrestler, not damn sure not no sports entertainer. By God, we have got a wrestler. Look here, we got Mean Mack Wallace in the house. How you doing, Mackie?
How's it going there, Whitey? It's good to see you again. Good to hear from you.
Hey, you too. I mean, I didn't think we was going to... You and Smokey was working on this right up till the last minute because come to find out, I mean, you got like some kind of damn razor phone or something or another, and so we couldn't have you on like we normally do. So Smokey managed to stick a nice-looking picture of you up there. We got your voice coming through, so... it's good to have you on here, at least audio-wise, if we can't have you on here with the video.
Yeah, I don't understand the kids and their damn phones today. It took me for... The only reason I got this one is because my grandkids got it for me for Christmas in 2006, I think it was, and I threw it in a shoebox and I forgot about it, and so I figured I was paying the bill for it. I might as well use it, and then... My granddaughter, I thought for a while there that everybody had kind of forgot about old Mac, and then my granddaughter talked me into starting this Facebook account, and I gotta say, the people that's coming on and, saying all the kind things to me, it's just overwhelming.
Can you imagine back in the day, in our early careers, or hell, yours goes back way further than mine, if we'd have had these damn cellulite telephones where they could track us down, and if we went in and took our PO and, split because we didn't want to work the show that night, well, nobody going to see us again if we didn't come back around, but hell, now they can track you down and call you.
Oh, God, I know it, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, back in my day, oh man, when we was running with Louie and Georgie and everybody, man, the day, if they'd have had cameras walking around recording everything we did back then, I'll tell you, they'd have seen some sights, man. Things got crazy back then.
Well, speaking of things getting crazy, I know this is kind of early on in the interview, and if we need to kayfabe, we will. But a lot of people sent me one of them electronic mail type things, and they said they wanted me to ask you about the incident, if you will. I'm not even going to mention any names in case legally you can't talk about it. But if you can, what the hell, man?
I got acquitted. Well, all right. Here's what happened. I didn't want to.
Got away with it like OJ. Good job.
It's not. It was. First off, it wasn't my fault. It was not my fault. I told the promoter I wasn't comfortable trying to get in the ring and wrestle around with no woman. He insisted that I do it because I'm on the same as Jackie Fargo used to say. I don't think their place is in the ring, so to say, especially with a tough guy like me. So what's some 100-pound girl gonna do, to a fit tough guy like myself. Like it's but kayfabe these days is dead, and I'm finally getting ready to admit it, I guess. But I told the promoter this wasn't gonna work. It wasn't right. She talked me into. I didn't want a pile driver. She wanted a pile driver finish. I said we'll just do we'll do a headlock. I'll do a body stretch, and we'll stretch her for 10 minutes, and we'll get the fuck out of here and go home. But she wanted a pile driver at the end, so I was like, fine, I'll do a pile driver. I ain't done a pile driver that much because most of the way we did things back in the day was a lot of headlocks, wrist locks, real wrestling.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I gave her the pile driver. I thought she was selling it. She was just doing a good job. I mean, she was turning blue and vomiting a little bit, but I didn't think nothing of it. So I gave her the pinfall. The ref was. I knew something was wrong when he was being an asshole, not wanting to count the three, but he didn't want to tangle with old Mac, so he counted the three like I told him to. And when I hit the pile driver, I ain't as young as I used to be, and after every match, I usually spend a good 30 minutes in the can.
Yeah.
Because at my age, all that physical activity will knock the guts
it loose.
loose.
Yeah, I mean, that's especially when you eating all them hot dogs beforehand. In case the money don't pan out like it's supposed to.
Well, that's an old timer's trick. I mean, you've been in the business a long time. That's an old school guy's trick. You go in, you raid the concession stand, and you eat a lot. That way, if the promoter stiffs you, you at least got fed.
Figure out where the belts are in case you got to make off with one of them. Anything that's going to cost the money, you figure it out.
I've pawned a few belts in my day.
Hell yeah. Everybody acts like the snowman invented that shit, man. We was stealing belts and pawning them 40 years ago. I mean, that ain't special. Just because some black guy in Memphis stole a belt and pawned it. That shit happens every day. It ain't like it's
ain't nothing new. I mean, shit, we were stealing belts and pawning them in the 40s. I mean, we've been doing that shit everywhere. That's not even Southern wrestling.
Back to something you just said, that's what's wrong with these kids today. I mean, you give that old gal a pile driver, and I mean, just because she's crappie flopping down on the ground and turning blue, this little pansy ass referee don't want to count three. Well, what are we out there for if you ain't gonna make a count, boy?
That's what I said.
We'll figure it out after it's over. But the fans came to see a finish, and if she's flopping around, count to three so we can get her on to the hospital or wherever she needs to go. But sitting here not ending the match ain't helping nobody.
Exactly. What am I going to do? It had an hour time limit, they said. Am I going to put her in a fucking headlock for another 90 minutes? I don't think so. So I get in the back. I go. They had porta potties in the back, so I was sitting in one of those when I heard a commotion, but it's just kind of, my hearing ain't what it used to be. Plus, there was a lot of noise going on inside the porta potty anyway, so it was kind of muffling it out. I thought I heard a commotion going on, so about an hour later I come out, and I thought, sometimes these mocks can get insane and try to come up and sign autographs, want to rip your clothes off like Elvis back in the day. So this guy come up to me. I thought it was a mock, and he somehow got past security, and he wanted to meet old Mac, and I could tell this was not going to go well. He was cussing, you motherfucker. And I'd worked till that night, so I was like, oh shit, here we go. So, yeah, I locked him up. I might have broke a leg or two, and I felt really bad because it turns out it wasn't a mock, it was a husband. And I didn't know what had happened, so now he's in the hospital. And then the kids came up, and now my lawyer said even though I got acquitted, it's probably best for public relations if I don't talk about what happened to the kids. That was also an unfortunate
Probably good call,
well, they didn't have no business in the locker room, no way.
Well, no, and then the old man shouldn't have let her in the ring wrestling another man anyway. It's kind of on him, really. If he'd checked his old lady and had her at the house making dinner,
That's
And
what I
none
said.
could happen. So it's really on. I mean, really, if you want to put somebody on trial, it ought to be your old man. If we're just being
That's,
honest.
you know what? That's exactly what I said backstage. And everybody just looked at me. Ah, Mac, you're out of date. You're out of the times. It's a different time and everything. They kept saying.
Shitty times, what it is.
I'll agree with that. I mean, I turn on the TV from time to time and I watch Jess's grandson, whatever they call it now. They've changed the name of it 4 times in my fucking career. The Monday
They had to
night.
get internet entertainment in there now. You know, we ain't even gonna try to act like it's wrestling no more.
Oh, Jesus.
Entertainment.
So Jess's grandson, I'm watching his show and I'm like, man, if Jess and Toots saw this, man, they'd stretch this kid. Don't care how old he is. They'd stretch him till his ears turn yellow.
That's for real. Now, I know. I mean, I know back in the day, men didn't wrestle women, but you know, if any woman could have wrestled a man, and she eventually did in the 2000s, but you know, Moolah could have wrestled a man back in the day. Now, did you and Moolah ever tie up? I know y'all
Moolah.
didn't like out in front of the crowd, but she ever get sassy with you back in the dressing room and you had to set her straight or anything like that?
Mola. Ah, the ring rat in New York.
Yeah,
Oh, Mola.
con
Yeah.
artist.
Oh, yeah. Backdoor Mary, we used to call her. Ah, what a dame she was. I mean, I don't know about her. I knew I'd heard she'd done some things in the business and wrestling and whatnot, but I'll tell you, the whole thing back in the day, she was gosh, she was a looker. But we used to call her Backdoor Mary, you know, on account of she like the anal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think everybody probably could have read between the lines, but all right, there you
Yeah,
go. Just put it out there, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, and there was a tradition in Jess's family, and Jess and Toots, they started this family tradition. They oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna tell this story, but all right. Now, Jess would be mad if he found out I was telling him, but fuck,
I
he's
ain't
been
gonna
dead.
find out.
He's dead. So Jess and Toots, all right, Toots Mott.
Yeah.
They used to. Oh God, how do you say? When one guy's on one side of the girl and the other guy's on the other side, we called it finger cuffing back in the day because it looked like a pair of Chinese finger cuffs. You know, like
Yeah.
one in each hole there. You know, on each side.
They call it spit roasting or something like that now. There's a few different names.
Yeah.
There's a few different names for it. But
I came in that hotel. They had that.
Lane says.
They had that lady. I came in that hotel. They had that lady tied up. Oh man, looked like a pig on a fire roast. Just a rod in either side. I'm just kidding. Oh no, but in all seriousness, they had this family tradition one night. Toots and Jess and they're going at it with Mary and Jess's boy. What was his name? Vinny.
Yeah.
So Vinny comes in there, and Vinny was probably, I don't know, about 14 or 15, and he sees this going on and everything, and so then I don't know if he got a little excited, but I guess Jess felt like, you know what, like father, like son. So on Vinny's 18th birthday, he sent Mary over and had himself a real good time. And then Vinny, you know, Mary was still alive, and he, you know, they used to go at it all the time. And then Vinny came along, and Vinny had a boy. I guess his name was also Vinny. We just called him Junior. He seemed to get pissy about it, but yeah, he was a little brat anyway. Yeah. So Vinny came along, and then Vinny's boy started to grow up, and on his 18th birthday, he sent Mary down to go see him, and yeah, then they started. going at it all the time, like all the
Damn,
time.
no wonder he was jumping
Cats,
off everything. Jesus.
cats and dogs, and then what was Vinny? What's Jess's grandson's name? Vinny's boy, Vinny Junior's boy,
Shane?
Shane. Yeah. Well, Shane started growing up, and he started getting a little interested in getting around the business about that. About this time. I don't remember what year it was. I think it was like the 90s, 80s, or something. And anyway, the kid turned 18, and it's like a family tradition at this point. When the kid turns 18, they get to go a few rounds with Mary, and oh man, and then once you go around with Mary, I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody does it just once. Nobody, not me, not Jess, not Toots, not any damn body. Everybody's been around Mary, and you never just did it once. We like to say we never did it at all because we used to rib the guys about.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to own up to that. I mean,
it was a joke, yeah, man, the only ring rat you're gonna get is old backdoor Mary tonight. Don't you say that. How dare you say that things to me like that? And yeah, but no, we was all doing it. We just wasn't proud of it.
that's the wrestling business for you right there. Doing stuff you ain't proud of. That's what it's all about.
Ah, man, I can tell you some stories. Oh, I got up, I came into the business when I was, I started wrestling officially when I was about 16. I started coming around the business at age 12.
That's about, 1892 or something like that?
1930 something, I don't fucking remember.
All right.
I would have been 1934, I believe. About 1934, 1935 is when I remember starting to go around to the matches. See, when I was 12 years old on my birthday, my father got me some boots, and I got myself a job in the local steel mill, working 40 hours a week like a man should. And some of the fellas we didn't really get lunch breaks or anything back then, but some of the fellas that was working with me in the steel mill was telling me about this wrestling thing, and this guy Georgie Hackenschmidt, and he wasn't wrestling anymore, but they used to talk about him like he was a fucking legend, like he was the greatest thing that ever happened, and so Georgie was coming around, and he was like meeting people and things. He wasn't getting in the ring anymore. He was starting to get up there in age, and so they was like, "Look, man, you should come down, Mackie, and come see the wrestling with us one night, and Georgie's gonna be there. We'll get you in the back, and we'll get you to meet Georgie." And so I went in the back because I wanted to see what all the hype was about. So I came to the show. I paid 15 cents for admission, and that was a lot of money back in those days. Because I remember a movie was only $5.
Right.
So I was like, man, this is like...
Hell, you'd be overpaying for some of this shit today if you paid 15 cents for it. But that's enough.
Jesus, especially that crap they put on TV. Anyway, so I go in and I'm watching, and see, nowadays you turn on the matches or you go to the show and everything. You look at the card, and the cards, got like 10, 15 matches sometimes on it. Sometimes, and how you're going to get 15 wrestling matches done in like 4 hours. Like nowadays, but see, back then you go in the back and you see the card, it had 2 matches on it. And one of them probably wasn't going to happen because back in those days, a match was like an hour sometimes. We had to start putting time limits on it, I know, later on. Because sometimes it'd just go till it was done. We'd go till we were fucking blue in the face. And
hell yeah.
And so get in, and I get to meeting some folks, and they hooked me up with this fella Louis Thez, and I get to working with him and everything, and he starts teaching me a thing or two, and I get to, when I first got on the road with him, he was in demand. A lot of promoters and bookers and things, and bookies are trying to book Louis, and Louis would he'd come work your show, but you had to pay his crew. So we would come with him, and I was on his crew. And part of my job was at the end of the night, I would take Louis' jock straps back to the hotel, and I would scrub the skid marks out. I don't know how the hell he got him and where he got him, but Louis was never a very clean guy. We used to call him Louis Smalls on account of he had a big pecker. But and the ring rats, oh God, the ring rats loved Louis, and but there's only one Louis to go around, so that was how I started. When I found out about the ring rats, I was sold. I was like, Louis, you gotta teach me how to do this, because when the ring rats started coming along, Louis would come in and they'd be a line all the way out to the hotel lobby, and Louis would come in and he'd come to the hotel, he'd let one in, and he would visit with her for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then he would order room service. He used to say, Mackie, go down to room service and get me another bottle of scotch. He probably had about 4 bottles of scotch in a night. He'd have a bottle of scotch, he'd let the next one in, and by the time he passed out, there was a lot of ladies there left unsatisfied. So you had guys like old Mackie coming in and
take the hot tag, if you will.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so when I found out about the ring rats, I was like, Louis, you gotta teach me this. And, he never disappointed. Hell of a guy.
I never did get to meet him, but hell, I've heard a lot of damn stories, that's for sure.
He was a good now. I'll tell you, a lot of these interviews, they always want to hear you talk about some guys you might have had a little heat with. And, there was a couple. But I'm going to tell you, there was this one guy back in the day. It's about the time the business started really changing. We called him Ray Ray. Because we used to say, Ray, you're so gay. On account of he was flamer. But
yeah, back when you could say that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he always took it well. Anyway, Ray started. He was a wrestler too. Nobody really minded what Ray did in his spare time. I mean, he had a wife and everything like everybody else did. I mean, hell, we were all married. That didn't have anything to fucking do with it. She was at home. She wasn't here at the hotel. What's she gonna do? So Ray had some wife. I never met her. She was kind of a bitch and didn't like being around the business. But so he's talking about, I just want to be myself out there. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, Ray? The people, they'll eat you alive if you start, doing all this flimsy shit that you do when you're with us. Like, we accept you because you're one of the boys, but they don't know you're from Adam. So he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the chance. And I was like, oh, God, Ray, don't do it. And so he comes out. Oh, man. Okay, so Ray had curly blonde hair. All right? And, like, very, very curly. And he would dye it blonde. And I was like, oh, God, Ray, what are you doing here? You look like a woman, Ray. I mean, if I'd have been drunk a couple of nights when he came back, I mean, he might have tricked me a time or two. I won't admit it if he did, but, that's...
No, don't ever admit it.
Beside the point. You got to see it through sometimes. Anyway, Ray comes in, and now he's like, this is what I'm going to wear to the ring tonight. And he's got this gown that looks like a mink coat. And something you'd buy a classy dame, not like your wife or anything, but like, a gomar, if you will. And he's just starts wearing these suits, and then he starts having to start spraying out the ring before he'll get in it, like with a cleaning solution. He'd have the cleaning boys come in and spray the ring and stuff, and he's like throwing flowers at the audience, and oh my God, they hated him. And I was like, Ray, you can't. You gotta do something, man, and the crowd went crazy. And I was like, I think this kid's on to something. I don't know what they were gonna do with it. I would have done something else. But, yeah, he started calling himself, I said, I was it's no secret. I mean, we all have drinking problems here,
Yeah.
so we was at the bar one night, and I was just ribbing him. I didn't mean nothing by it, but he came in and he was wearing this flimsy, flamboyant Liberace kind of jacket. And I said, Ray. He said, how do I look, fellas? And I was like, Ray, you look good enough to eat. You look gorgeous. And when I said gorgeous, oh my God, his eyes lit up. And he said, from now on, fellas, when we go to these shows, I don't want you calling me Ray no more. And I was like, what are you talking about, Ray? He said, no, my name's going to be Gorgeous George from now on. And I'm going to start using my first name. And I was like, nobody's going to buy that. That's a stupid name because we didn't have these gimmicky, worky names like that back then. So, but God, the people, they just hated this man.
Well, you get a little bit of feedback on your microphone or something there. There's some kind of weird noise going on. What we got?
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Sorry, I'm taking a shit. I'm incontinent. I thought I could get away with it without nobody knowing since this is on over the phone. But give me a minute, I'll fix it. Just let me wipe real quick. It's embarrassing.
I gotta say that story I love.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you lose your teeth there? That story had a lot better payoff than I was expecting. I didn't know you was talking about the Gorgeous George there first. He went on to, every gay gimmick that ever happened, kind of came. If you wouldn't have had Gorgeous George, we'd have never had the pink flamingos over there in Mississippi, So Fine and Brian So Fine, who is now a superstar Bassmaster fisherman, and I'm going to be having him at one of my events coming up real soon. He's going to be signing fishing lures and, all kinds of good stuff. But
I know Brian.
There. I didn't know that was going to be the payoff. Good job there.
I knew old Brian So Fine. I remember him. This kid, he was coming up in Mississippi, and I'd somehow found myself down there. And he says to me, he's like, Mackie, you gotta teach me a thing or two. So I said, all right, come with me, Brian. I'll teach you a thing or two. His kid's probably 18, 19 at the time. He was wanting to get in so bad. He loved wrestling. And I was like, but I'm not going to teach you the bullshit that they want me to teach you in these so-called fucking schools and training classes or what the fuck ever. I'm going to teach you how to get the money behind the scenes and what needs to go on. So we had this ring rat, and I said, this is your first lesson. And I was just ribbing the kid. I didn't think he was really going to do it. Her name was Daisy Mabel. And she was, I don't know if you ever had a round or two with old Daisy, but, man, she was a looker. At the time, she was probably about 68 years old. And I was like, the first thing you need to learn how to do if you're going to be in this business, kid, is you're going to have to go around the two with old Daisy here. And I'll be damned if he didn't do it. Oh, man, his friends were ribbing him for weeks about that until, old Daisy got a hold of them, too.
I bet she got the whole Myrtle crew over there, the So Fines and damn... what's his name? He's the big muscle head now, but back then he was just a backyard guy that had no
that kid I seen on the TV.
He's Brett Michaels, but not the guy from Poison.
I know who you mean. We used to call him Little Eddie on account of he's not very.
Now he's Big Eddie all of a sudden.
He used to be a little skinny fucker.
I ain't gonna speculate on how that came to be. But he's been causing me and the Violent Gentleman some problems over at EPW, so we're gonna deal with him real soon. Now we're out of time here, but before we go, I'm gonna ask you about somebody that's been very controversial on the internets. He gets on there and he's promoting his show, and a lot of people are saying a lot of things. What can you tell us about the Mississippi legend, Dangerous David Cox?
Davy boy. Here's the thing about David. I don't know what the fuck's got into him on this internet. He messaged me a couple weeks ago on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, Mackie, can you come over here and wrestle in Pontotoc?" And I told him, I said, you and I have an agreement about contracts and things like that, about booking, and I told him I'd give him your information, and you would see what we could do. Well, he got all pissed off about it, and he we've tussled about a lot of times, Davey and I don't know why he's all of a sudden acting like this is something to do. Like he knew he had to pay me. He knew he had to go through my agent. Are we kayfabing the agent thing, or are we just gonna tell him?
I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, it's all out there on this show. I mean, I'll just tell you how it is. David Cox don't like me because 14 years ago, me and him wrestled in Center Point, Alabama, in the parking lot of a Winn-Dixie, and he was supposed to go over in a hair match, and I swerved him and hooked him and pinned him and cut his damn rat tail off, and the son bitches hated my guts ever since.
Well, you did him a favor because he looked like a, can we say retard on this show?
You can on my show. I mean, you're going to probably get canceled, but I mean, fuck, you ain't got much longer anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't going nowhere. You hear me? No fucking where. I ain't gonna retire anytime soon. Mean Mac is gonna be around for 3 more generations. And I'm gonna be showing these kids what wrestling was supposed to be about. But going back to Davey. So me and Davey, now he's still around, so I don't know if I want to tell a lot of the stories about us and the ring rats or anything, or the cocaine, or I don't want to talk about none of that because he's still alive. He's probably got kids or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's doing his best to avoid them, but yeah, I hear he's got some, here and there, like we all do. I mean, shit.
But keeps talking about this Pontotoc show, so he wouldn't answer my calls. He kept messaging me on Facebook, but he wouldn't answer my damn calls. So I was like, fine, I'll just, so I called the venue, and they's like, I don't even know who the hell this guy is. So I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, what he's gotten into him, but, I mean, Davey Boy wasn't always like, he ain't, he may not be what he lacks in education. He makes up for in ring skill. If you guys want to see though a hell of a wrestler, and I mean a hell of a wrestler, I'm talking about Davy Cox, Dangerous Davy. Now that man has the moves. I know you kids talk about your Jeff Hardys and your AJ, what the fuck ever the kid's stupid ass name is. But I'm gonna tell you, you want to see what real wrestling moves look like. Davy Cox is one of the last ones, other than Mean Mac here, of course. I mean, he's not as good as me, obviously. And obviously, he's not nearly as legendary as I am. But, he's a good kid. He's got a lot of potential. And I think if you keep watching this kid, you're going to see Davy's going to show up on Jesse's grandson's show, on Little Vinny's fucking TV thing he's got now someday.
Well, that'd be a hell of a WrestleMania right there. You have old David Cox and that old boy with the stringy, greasy hair there, the Samoan boy. Have him wrestle for and David would tie that boy up knots. I mean, whether you like him or not, whether he's trying to screw everybody with his Pontotoc debacle, that's up for debate. But the fact is, he's a tough old son of a bitch. That's just a fact. That's just a fact of the matter. Is what that is.
I like to let bygones be bygones. But I've worked for Davey in the past, and he's had me up at the Huddle House waiting on an envelope on more than one occasion. So I don't know if I would do it again without having my agent secure payment.
Well, you can bet if he tries to book you that your agent is going to make damn sure that we get a deposit, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah, good, yeah.
if this Pot Talk show even happens, but that's a whole nother podcast right there. We may have a podcast in the future just deconstructing this Pot Talk thing and get to the bottom of it once in a while. We may do some investigative journalism, if you will, like a 2020 or some stuff. Get this figured out.
Well, I'll tell you, Davey, if you're listening, I told you I'd do the show. You just got to go through the rights. I even offered him the friend price. And you know what the friend price is. That's a good price for me. It's basically gas money. And I don't know. I don't know what his fucking problem's been. But I'll tell you this much. I've been watching my daughter's got the YouTube on her phone, and she pulls up the Boonville show and the new Memphis show. And, I've been watching a lot of that lately. And, these kids. They just need somebody like old Mac to get in the ring and show them how it's done. But I don't think a 30-minute show is going to be long enough for wrestling. That's not even one. That's half a match where I came from.
Well, that's a good segue you just made right there. Speaking of the Boonville show, boom, right there. Saturday night, November 20th, TV taping. Me and the Violent Gentlemen are going to be coming back down there, as you can see.
Oh, holy shit. Is that Wayne Blaylock's boy?
That's, which one?
The one on the end.
Side, Joshua? That's him.
Yeah, that's Little Burns. Little Bad Boy Burns. Oh, my God.
Bad Boy Jr. right there. That's my guy, Shane Mako, there in them pink sunglasses. I know he's wearing pink sunglasses, but he's a pretty tough damn guy. And him and the Violent Gentleman, Charles Anders and Scott Morgan, are going to be whooping up on some people. And, of course, we're going to be there encouraging everybody to sign the petition. It's still out there. Fire Joey Gross. And if you want to know why, just remember this right there.
Oh,
look at that, Mac. Is that not disgusting?
Oh, my God.
Does that not make your American blood boil?
God, that pisses me off. You know something, Joey? I'm going to tell you right now. I can't believe it. God, that makes me so angry. Next time I see you, I might make a trip to Boonville myself pretty soon.
I'd like to see you come out there and just stretch that some bitch is what I'd like to see.
By the time I'm done with Joey Gross, he'll be 10 inches taller. I promise you that.
Well, that'll be the first time Joey Gross and 10 inches ever got used in the same sentence. But anyhow, not to be vulgar on here, but we kind of crossed that line here. But folks, if you want you a Whitey Jenkins t-shirt, and why the hell wouldn't you? Because they're a fine-looking t-shirt. Richard Mulligan was wearing one here last week. Go to www.whiteyjenkins.com, and you can get you one of them there t-shirts, and you can follow me on them social medias and all that good stuff. If you want to know more about EPW, you go to www.epwwrestlingms.com, and then you can see about them too. And
you lost me. I don't know what you mean about none of that.
Them guys, so Smokey, producer Smokey, he does my show. He does Jackson's interview thing, and he also does that Cheap Heat TV live. He's forcing me to cross-promote here and put up here that on live on Christmas Day, they're having another Charles Anders Christmas special.
Is he taking a shit?
.com / Cheap Heat TV live. That's how you can watch it. And then, that wasn't the best picture. I figure old Jackson's ribbing his ass again. He'll be calling, crying here just any minute, I imagine. Anyhow, Matt, thank you for coming on here, man. We're gonna get you back here again if you make it, and talk to you about some more wrestling pretty soon.
Thank you for having me there, Whitey.
Hopefully you can drop a deuce before the show and won't have to get caught up doing it during the show. But that's all right. We forget.
It's okay. I've been doing it this whole time.
Shit happens, as they say, right?
Yeah. And when you're my age, it happens more often than not.
Goddamn right. Well, all right, Mac. You take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day, my friend.
You too. Thank y'all for watching another episode of the Whitey Jenkins Show.